Well, hello out there in indoor gardening land. My name is Greg Dreiss, and I want to say thank you for tuning into the Indoor Gardener podcast. You can pick this up on Anchor.fm, Spotify, probably Google, Amazon, a bunch of others out there, as well as YouTube. We ask you to visit our online shop, theindoorgarden.etsy.com, for rooted cuttings, cool succulents, and really awesome foliage. Small plants, usually cuttings and stuff up to 4-inch pots, easy to ship, cheaper to ship than some of the big stuff. You can also check us out online at Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Today we're going to continue talking about plants that supposedly are air purifiers. So there's a new guy on the block, and it is a company called Neoplants, and they are out of France. And they're jumping on the bandwagon of plants that purify the air with a genetically modified, sorry, genetically modify my throat so I can stop coughing here. They have a genetically modified pothos, and starts at $179, complete with a really fancy self-watering pot. So basically what they did is they went in and placed a couple other things in the DNA of the plant to create capacity for it to purify air of the 4 most important volatile organic compounds. And they claim that this plant for $179, it comes in what looks like a 6 or 8-inch self-watering pot. It's a pretty cool little design for the pot. Is enough to clean the air equal to 30 air purifiers. Now, what they don't say is how big the air purifiers or the air machines are. I do know that a small air cleaner for an average room, a 10 by 12 room, a good one with the HEPA filters or advanced HEPA, probably runs about $300 to $400. So they have their claim. They've genetically modified a plant, and the one that they've done is a pothos, Epiprenum aureum, and they've associated its root microbiome. So their first plant is called the NEO P1, and it's going to work with Neoplant's microbiome located in the soil near the roots. This is not the first time when pothos is used as an air purifier. They cite the 1989 study from NASA, which launched a research project to study biological life support systems in space. And their study suggested that various plants and their associated microorganisms have an interesting VOC removal properties. Now, what they say is NASA didn't find a way to recycle the VOCs, but Neoplants claims that they are able to turn the VOCs into waters, sugars, amino acids, and oxygen, which makes them capable of purifying air. And this is all from their website. Neoplants specifically targets a group of indoor pollutants: benzene, ethyl glycol, formaldehyde, and methylene chloride, and other VOCs traditional air purifiers can't capture. They say the trouble with most VOCs is they're very tiny molecules, making it difficult to remove from indoor air with regular air purifiers. And even if they do manage to filter them out, according to Neoplant, it's simply re-released when they blow the air back in the air. So Neoplant's NEO P1, their GMO Pothos, turns formaldehyde into fructose and BTEX compounds into amino acids that can later be used to produce proteins. They say they spent 4 years of nonstop work, but in the end, they created a plant that can metabolize the 4 major VOCs, and the bioengineered plant can even absorb other VOCs like benzene and carcinogens that is present in wildfire smoke. They said the real breakthrough came from modifying the microorganisms present in the plant's roots. The researchers inserted genes from extremophile bacteria, which survive in the environment by eating toxic chemicals, kind of like the oil-eating plastic that they've developed. And they said this modification boosted the plant's pollutant metabolizing capacity. They said right now they even admit that even $179 It's a little more than most houseplants. Have you ordered an online cutting from that really cool place out in Seattle for $8,000 or $9,000? It makes this one sound cheap. He says further, the company only has one plant available right now, but in the near future is looking to develop other plants. So taking a look at their website, um, right on the front page, it says up to 30 times better than top NASA plants. Now, we just said in some other literature that it's 30 times cleaner than other air purifiers. So, are they talking about air purifiers that you plug in or air purifying plants? So, if it's 30 times more powerful than your standard Epiprenum pothos, 30 times more powerful isn't saying much, especially for $179 a plant. So it's 30 times cleaner. So you would still need hundreds of them to clean a room. And that even came out, I believe, in Wired magazine. They were talking about it, or in one of the magazines came out and said it's a GMO purifier, but it's still going to take hundreds of them to clean your house. So the devil's always in the detail. So it's right here. It says that they've genetically modified a plant to do the work of 30 air purifiers, but on their website it says up to 30 times better than top NASA plants from the 1989 study that's since been debunked because while it did clean 90 some odd percent of VOCs and other pollutants out of the air, it was in an airtight, highly controlled chamber which has no real world applicable values. So maybe in a spaceship it'll work, but it's not going to work in your home. So there you have it. Neo plants up to 30 times better than top NASA plants, and their other data says cleaner than 30 other air purifiers. So you can download their white paper and get some more interesting information on it. And once again, it says the NEO P1 is up to 30 times more powerful than most depolluting regular houseplants out there. And your regular houseplant doesn't do much depolluting to begin with. They do want to reinvest some of their profits. They do say that Neoplant says for every plant we sell, we'll invest a minimum of $20 back into research against climate change and give you full transparency with a comprehensive yearly report. They claim the presence of CO2 in the atmosphere is one of the major causes of global warming, and they believe the only way to solve this urgent issue is a sustainable manner with biology, and their technology so massive potential for fighting climate change with nature, and purchasing one of our products helps you do that. So their shell, what they call the container, is pretty neat looking. It has a floating water level indicator. Unlike other pots, this does not sit flat on the bottom. It's got a kind of angled bottom. So let's say the top of the pot is, let's say, 8 inches across. It looks like the bottom is maybe 5 or 6. And they're what would appear in a regular pot to be a gigantic drainage holes. These are air exchange holes. So it's a pretty neat looking container to let fresh air in and out. And they call they're at the crossroads of organic and technological lines. The shell, as they call their pot, is beautifully designed to maximize air exchange between the soil and the room. They've worked hard with other partners to make this out of environmentally friendly materials that can fit in their performance constraints. The shell of the pod is made of PLA flax, which is produced from renewable resources that is biodegradable. And while not an instinctive choice, they made the math for the planet. It was the best option after looking at all the options. It's pretty neat. And then they show the top of it, and they get into airflow. The shell is designed to allow maximum air intake, bringing the polluted air in contact with the microbiome-rich soil while increasing root growth. So all those holes at the bottom of the pot, which just look like a mesh pot for hydroponics, is supposed to draw air in to the bottom, the polluted air where it's cleaned, but it doesn't have any mechanical or electrical fan to blow the air in there or suck it up, and I don't believe it would work through the regular transpiration. uh, of the air coming in the bottom and somehow getting into the roots and then going out. So it comes in contact with the roots, but how much air comes in there when it's just static and not being blown around or drawn in, that remains a question. Um, their maintenance says it's easy, and you should only have to water your Neo P1 every 3 weeks during the winter and every 2 weeks over the summer. The soil of the Neo P1 is optimized for air purification performance, health of the planet and the pot, and has one ingredient, biochar. Biochar is absolutely amazing stuff. It is usually wood or something that's burned in the absence of oxygen. Very sky high pH, but it's has an incredible surface area for growth and air exchange and moisture and nutrient holding compared to other soil additives. And they claim biochar helps the plant grow, provides niches for their microbiome because it's had a huge surface area on the biochar to come in contact and really to store CO2 out of the atmosphere. So the air that comes in contact with the roots also gets in with the biochar in the soil, and it doesn't say what else is in the soil. You can check out Neoplants on Instagram and LinkedIn, and currently they have a waiting list for their plants. And what else can we find on their website here? There's not a lot of other information. Let's check their careers. And at Neoplants, we believe nature doesn't have to be the victim. They're asking you to send some information to join them. We're looking for the most courageous, committed, and creative minds to join us. Does that sound like you? However, they have no open jobs listed. Part of their mission statement is kind honesty, trust, commitment, creativity, efficiency, and audacity. I think they used to call that interrupting other businesses. And they claim to developing a new product because we stand for a better future. This is all on their website. They believe that building machines to solve our problems is a thing of the past. Instead, want to craft products that have true sustainability at their core because they think they could do a better job with less impact. Dialogue, empathy, and collaboration should always be at the heart of our work. They say they're building an inclusive, diverse group of exceptional individuals where the team is what should matter the most. And if you want to join them, you click on join them, and then they have their list of employees that are there, including Margot Davola, Jerome Baudin, Hajar S. Sadoudi, Alex Mercier, Iman Tabate, Donna Slayman, Hector Dewaziers, and Saluk Aslan. So it looks like there's about 8 employees there right now. And for more information on Neoplants, you can check them out on Instagram as well as neoplants.com. And again, you've been listening to the Indoor Gardener podcast. Today we're talking about the new $179 yet to be released GMO modified Pothos that cleans air better than, on one of their pages, better than 30 air purifiers, but you get to the web page and it cleans air better than 30 other Pothos. So it is an improvement, but it's still going to take an awful lot of them at $179 a pop to clean the air in your home. It would be a lot cheaper just to go out and buy the 300 or 400 that you're going to need for a 10 by 10 room, as opposed to maybe 30 of these things at 100. Maybe it's a toss up. So to clean a 10 by 10 room with plants, you're probably looking at $5,000 or $6,000 investment either in Neoplants or 4-foot house plants. But if you want to be able to move around your room, I guess at $179 a pop, the Neoplant is the way to go. So if you want any more information, it's at neoplants.com. You can find the Indoor Gardener podcast on just about all the major platforms, Spotify, Anchor, as well as we are on YouTube. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with another episode pretty soon. And please, if you want some really cool plants, I grow them in an extra room at my house, little micro grower here. You can look us up on theindoorgarden.etsy.com. You can also find us on Facebook at The Indoor Garden, YouTube at The Indoor Gardener Podcast, Instagram, The Indoor Garden, and also on TikTok for a bunch of cool videos, The Indoor Garden. My name's Greg Dreiss, your host. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.